Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to talk about InPainting using the Qwen model series. Here's an example. We have our input image on the left side and then the InPainted image on the right side. Basically, InPainting will allow us to select an area. In this case, it's the chest area here. And then we tell the model to add or remove something from the image. In this specific case, I am adding a tattoo on the chest area. Now with InPainting, you can keep on repeating this process and you can get different variation. It will always be at that exact spot. So it's always here on the left side of the woman and the size will always match like this here. Here's another one. Now, if you want to, you can increase the size as well and you get control over the size, the position, and you will be able to dictate the shape. In this particular case, it's just a tattoo, so I can modify the shape as well. Now, additionally, you can do stuff like this where we have a blonde woman. We can change the hair color. We can add things at the back to give that perspective look. In this particular case, I'm adding text on top of her, which make it as if the woman is in front. Then we have a wall and then the text is in the middle ground there. And here's another one where we are changing the hair color. Now, I'd like to point out that InPainting is different from editing. Here's an example of editing. So this is my input image at the top left here. And when I'm editing, even though I'm not changing anything in the image, you can see that we have a slight, it's a subtle degradation of the image quality. So this one is sharp, this one is slightly degraded. If I zoom out, they look pretty much the same. On YouTube, I'm not sure if you're able to appreciate this subtle change, but when editing it, it will regenerate the entire image. When we are doing InPainting, it's only InPainting the area that we are marking. However, there are advantages to editing. For example, in this specific case here, I'm saying change the hair color to blue, and we can see that the hair style is preserved. It's only the hair color that changes. If you take a look at the InPainting example, we see that the hair style changes slightly. So you can take a look here. This side, the editing one is preserved, but in here we lose that original detail. There are advantages and disadvantages to InPainting. The same thing is true for editing. Today's video will focus only on image InPainting using the Qwen model series. I'd like to shout out Ale for asking this question on how to do InPainting to change just one part of an image. Okay, first you'll need to make sure that you've at least updated your ComfyUI once after September 2025. If you have not done so, you can go into your ComfyUI portable folder, update folder, and in here, just click on update_ComfyUI.bat. Alternatively, you can also go into the manager at the top and then update ComfyUI from here, restart your ComfyUI. In the description of this video, you will get a GitHub repository that will take you to these files here. There are a couple of examples that I've added. You can always open them and study. I have one for editing as well. Now for today's video, we are going to use the Qwen InPainting workflow. Click on it, drag it inside of ComfyUI. And at this point, some of you may get a notification here telling you that you are missing some custom nodes or even missing models. If you get that notification, just click on the download button to download the models. If you get missing custom nodes, go to the manager at the top, click on manager, then click on install missing custom nodes. And in here, you get a list of all the nodes that you are missing. Click on this checkbox here. It will select everything. And at the bottom here, you will get an install button. Click on it, wait for it to complete. Once completed, once again, in here, there will be a restart button. Click on it, wait for it to complete, and then you can come back here, close out of your manager and do a refresh. Press F5, it will reload and everything should be good now. If you have any issues, let me know in the comments down below. For explanation purposes, I'm going to go and rebuild this workflow. I'll be starting from scratch. We'll double click on an empty space and search for GGUF and add the UNET Loader GGUF. Now, because I'm using the GGUF, I do not have the clip and VAE. I will need to supply them separately. Once again, I'm going to double click and search for load clip, add it, and I will also add a load VAE node. There we go. Now this mode will need to have a Qwen image model. We'll be using the Qwen image. I will be using the GGUF version. This GGUF version was specifically converted to work inside of ComfyUI, and you do need to install this custom node. So once you drag and drop the workflow inside your ComfyUI, it will tell you to install it. Now to download the model, we'll go into Files here, and you will get the Q2 all the way to Q8 version. The lower the number, the worse the quality, and the higher the number, the better the quality. Now I'm going to select a middle ground here. I'm going to go with the Q4 version, and to download it, you click on this download button here. Now once downloaded, it will be in your downloads folder. Go into your downloads folder, press Ctrl X to cut, go into ComfyUI main folder, the models folder, and then look for UNET folder. Inside it, you'll need to paste that model in here. Now once inside of ComfyUI, press R to reload the node definitions, and then you should be able to select your model from here. Now we'll take the model, drag out, and this will go inside a K-sampler. Add the K-sampler. For the K-sampler, we are missing these 3 inputs here. We need a positive, negative, and a latent image. For positive, click on it, drag out. We will use the clip text encode. This is the default one that comes built in ComfyUI. I'm just going to make some space. By the way, a shortcut here, you can press and hold Control, drag to select multiple nodes, and then when you drag them, it will move as one. Now we'll duplicate the positive text encode. You can press and hold Alt, drag down, you will get a copy. Connect this one with negative, and then we just need to connect the clip here. All right, now we are missing the latent image, and considering that we are doing InPainting, we need to provide an input image. To get an input image, we are going to double click, search for load image, and we'll use this node here. However, the image cannot go directly inside of K-sampler. We'll need to convert the image to a latent space. To do this, drag the image out and select VAE Encode. This requires the VAE. We'll pass it from here, and the output of this latent can go into K-sampler. Now we'll finish the workflow by connecting the output latent to a VAE decode. This requires the VAE as well. So take the VAE, connect it, and then the image can go out as a preview node or a save image node. Now at this point, all that we've done is create an image to image workflow. We'll need to add the ability to mask an area. Right now, we can go into our image. I'm going to select the image from the demo. We can right click on it, select Open in Mask Editor, and then on the right side here, you will get your controls. The thickness will control the size of your brush. You can decrease it, get a smaller brush, increase it to get a bigger brush. I'm going to make a selection like this, click on Save, and now I have a mask in here. The load image will also output a mask, but I have no way of connecting the mask to my current workflow right now. For this, we are going to double click on an empty space and search for Alimama like this. We will add the ControlNet InPainting Alimama Apply node. This is a built-in node. You need to make sure that you have your ComfyUI up to date to see this node. To look at it, we can see that this one has a mask input, which is perfect. So we are going to make some space here. This ControlNet will go in between the clip section and the K-sampler section. We'll connect the output from the Alimama Apply ControlNet to our K-sampler. So positive goes to positive, negative to negative. And then the clip text encode, positive will go here, negative here. We can connect things we already have. So VAE will go there. And then for our image, we'll have both the image and the mask. So I'm just going to arrange this like this. The workflow at this point should look like this. Now, even though we've added the mask, the K-sampler will actually regenerate the entire image. That is because we are passing the entire image to our K-sampler here. So we can see that the image node goes into this VAE encode, but there's no option for masking in here. We'll need to modify our workflow slightly to add this masking information and then pass it over to our K-sampler. To do this, we'll take the latent output from VAE encode, drag out, and select a set latent noise mask. This one will take a latent and then combine it with a mask. We'll take our mask, pass it to our set latent noise mask node, and then the latent output from this node will go into the K-sampler here. This set latent noise mask is not going to do a hard cutoff around the edge of our mask like this. It will actually have a buffer window, something like this. This is just a representation, by the way, because everything is in latent space. We do have this extra information that we are passing to the K-sampler. This way, the K-sampler knows what is around the area, and when it generates the final output, it will be able to blend the in-paint area with the surrounding area. Now, right now, this is the minimum that you will need. in order to do in-painting using the Qwen image series. I'm going to go ahead and in this case, let's just do a flower tattoo. In the case sampler here, the number of steps will be 20. The CFG will be 1.0. And because we are using a CFG of 1.0, we will not be adding any negative prompt. In the ControlNet InPainting Alimama apply, we need to add the ControlNet model. So take the ControlNet, drag out, and we'll select a load ControlNet model. Now from here, we are going to add the Qwen image instant X ControlNet InPainting.SaveTenses. If you do not have this model, you can go into Manager at the top, then go inside Model Manager. In here, at the search bar here, we are going to search for Qwen, and then scroll down until you see the type ControlNet, and then select the one that says Qwen image instant X ControlNet InPaint. This is the one. You will get an install button here. Click on install, wait for it to complete. It will automatically place it in the correct folder. Once it's completed, press R on your keyboard, go into the drop down, search for Qwen, and just select the InPaint version. For the load clip, we'll go into the clip name here and search for Qwen, add it. The type will also be a Qwen image. And then the device can be default. The load VAE, search for Qwen image VAE as well. By the way, in case you do not have these two, when you drag and drop the workflow inside of ComfyUI, it will ask you to download these two models. In case you're having any difficulty, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so we should be good. Let's click on Q prompt or run at the top. All right, I ended up getting a few errors inside of ComfyUI, and I found out that ComfyUI got updated. The latest version is not working right now. So what I did is I went into the manager, click on switch ComfyUI, and then I switched to the previous version, which is 3.67. So this version probably got released last night because I tested this workflow and it was working, and now in the latest version it's no longer working. And after that I restarted ComfyUI, ran the workflow exactly like this, and I was able to get my result. Now I'm not sure if that update affects other Qwen model, but if it does, now you know how to fix it. Okay, so let's take a look at the terminal here. So 20 steps for me takes about a minute 30 seconds to generate, and this is too long when experimenting and trying to get a good result. So the first thing that we can do to improve this workflow will be to add a load LoRa, and I'm going to select the LoRa loader model only version. This one will patch our model and will allow us to use 4 steps instead of 20 as it is right now. We'll take the model, connect it with the load LoRa node, and then the model output goes into the case sampler. Now I'm going to select the Qwen image lightning 4 steps v2. There's also an 8 steps, but with this model here, you can quickly bypass this to go back to 20 steps if you need higher quality. And then if you are experimenting, you can enable the LoRa to go to 4 steps. Okay, it's completed. And this time I don't see any changes. If this happens, we'll have to go into our prompt and give a better prompt. Now we have a better image, I would say. We have a flower pattern, and all I've done is change my previous prompt that was saying a flower tattoo to describing the image and then adding what I want to add at the end. So basically I said a beautiful woman with a flower shaped tattoo on the left side of her chest. When you are in painting, it is best to have a descriptive prompt compared to when you are editing, where you can get by just saying change hair color from red to blue. Editing, you will give instructions to the model. In painting, you will describe what you want to see. Now, we can do better. Right now, it's good. Actually, this is pretty good result, but let's see if we can improve it by adding one more node. I'm going to go in between the LoRa and the key sampler, double click and add AuraFlow. Just search for it, and I'm going to add the Model Sampling AuraFlow node. This is built in as well. It will take the model, which is the patch version from the LoRa, and the output will go into the key sampler. All right, you can think of the key sampler as an artist, and then our checkpoint here is going to be the brain. It has knowledge over how the image is supposed to look, what a flower is meant to be, and what is a tattoo, things like that. Now, our artist here, the key sampler, it has techniques on how to draw. Our Model Sampling AuraFlow here, it acts like a teacher. So let's pretend that our artist here has a technique where it's holding the brush like this, at this angle. Our teacher here will teach the artist to slightly shift the technique. So instead of holding the brush like this, we will say, okay, hold the brush maybe at flat angle so that you can do shading better. So this shifting of the technique is what our AuraFlow is responsible for. The model sampling AuraFlow is modifying the underlying algorithm that the K-sampler will use when denoising the image. Hopefully it makes sense now. And I think the default value is 1.73 like this. And if I keep everything the same, I'm going to fix the seed, generate again. It's completed. And you probably cannot tell, but we have a different pattern right now. Let me go inside of the outputs folder. And this is the last image I generated. This is with the AuraFlow. And this one is without the AuraFlow. So you see the flower is fully formed, like the petals here are full, while in this one we have this here where it's missing a little bit. So we have this improvement to our final image. It's not changing it by much depending on the number that you put here. You can increase it positively. You can also go down. So let's say we generate at 1.73 and you find that the quality is getting worse. What you can do is you can decrease this value. You start with 1.5, check the quality. If it is good, if it is bad, depending on that, you increase it or decrease it. This is modular as well. If you find that you are getting better result without this node, you can select it, click on this button here to bypass it. And now you have just your Qwen image, the LoRa, which goes directly inside the K-sampler. If you don't want the LoRa, you can select it, disable the LoRa, go to 20 steps, which will give you a higher quality. Now I'm going to enable the AuraFlow since it's making the tattoo here, the in-painted area better. And let's take a look at another improvement that you can add to your workflow. And we will do it with our mask here. Right now, our mask is a solid mask. We have a harsh separation between the mask and the pixel area here. We can double click and add a grow mask with blur node. First, it's going to take a mask. Now we'll need to do this before the set latent noise mask. So we'll add it right in between our VAE Encode and the set latent noise mask. It will take a mask. The mask is from our load image. And then this mask will go into the set latent noise. We'll also pass it to our ControlNet like this here. Now what this one does, it allows us to expand the mask slightly. I'm going to go with 3 pixels. Then we have this blur radius here. I'm going to go with, let's start with 10 and let me convert the mask to an image. We are going to select this convert mask to image and we can add a preview image here, generate. And now you will see that there is a slight blur at the edge of the mask. Now with this blur, we can generate, and whether we have an improvement or not will depend on the image. So let's go into outputs here. So this is without the AuraFlow. This one is with the AuraFlow, and this one is with the blur in it. So we see that it's less harsh when we have the blur compared to without the blur. So the edges here are very dark compared to this one, which looks like it's faded a little bit. It is better because this is supposed to be a tattoo, and the tattoo should not be as sharp as this one here. Now, of course, this is a specific case. As always, we can go into ComfyUI here and we can enable, disable this section depending on whether you are getting good result or a bad result. All right, so let me load the full version. This one will be in the description below. This is exactly the same workflow that we built today. And at this point, you should be able to understand it. This will be all the models that we are loading. We also have the Lightning and ControlNet here. Like I said, the prompt has to be descriptive prompt. There is the model sampling that you can enable, disable. At the bottom here, there is a little bit more than what we built today. There's a preview node here. There's also a before and after that is showing you the image and where the mask will be applied. Anything that is in white is what the K-sampler will denoise. Everything that is in black will stay the same. So biggest advantage when you do in-painting is that the area which is in black here, they will not be changed at all. So if you compare these two, this here is the input image, this is the output image. There is no modification in these areas here. It's only the part where we are masking which get modified. When you compare this to editing, the entire image will be generated and you may see some subtle degradation in the quality. All right, so that was it for today. I would like to say a big thank you to all of you who joined my Patreon recently. I really appreciate all the support. It is thanks to all of you that I'm able to give all of these workflows for free and teach on YouTube. Thank you once again for all the support. If you watched until the very end and you found this video helpful, consider giving this a like, subscribe if you have not. I will see you next time.